How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, on location at the Klipsch Music Center in Noblesville, Indiana, and this is Trey Cool of Green Day.
Hello. How are you? I'm good.
Now, we're totally excited because we have SJC on board now.
Yeah.
And Mike Chaperi and Scott, they've built a super cool brand, and they make great product. What is it about their sound that you got drawn to?
Well, it first started with a snare drum that was brought in the studio when we were recording, and I was checking it out, and I was like, wow, this is really cool stuff. And, I would go to like NAMM or some of the drum shows sometimes and start seeing like some of the more boutique companies, and I thought, it's cool, guys are hand-making drums, and then SJC just sort of really rose to the top. They made a kit for me, this aluminum kit. We call it the beer can kit. And then from that, I was just like sprung on these guys. I was endorsed by someone else at the time, and then they started, bringing more kits. Like they brought another kit, the Drunk Bunny kit.
It's creative names for your drum kits.
Yeah, and that thing just sounded just super nasty. Like right off the bat, it's like, oh man, this sounds like John Bonham. Right. I love it. So, I just started falling in love with their sound, and then I met Mike, and it was a total bromance from there. And it's just really good to and I've been to the factory and to see them just make these things by hand and the care they take. It's very old school. It's not like some big factory or some cranked out product. They're making instruments. Yeah.
Mike told me that you've been to each other's weddings.
That's true. We have.
That's cool. That's not drum talk, but that's a cool relationship.
There were SJC drums at the weddings, so.
That's awesome. Now, if I read correctly, for the recording of the Revolution Radio record, you used a mahogany kit.
Right.
And this is a maple kit on stage. So what's the difference? Why do you have maple live and mahogany in the studio? Do you like the warmth difference for recording and the punch for live?
Yeah, well, the mahogany kit I have for the studio is like a naked kit with no wrap, and this one has a bit of a wrap on it. And I think the maple kind of opens up little wider notes and like longer overtones. And it's versatile. So what I was going for on Revolution Radio was that kind of more, I guess, not like a vintagey sound, but it's unique. Yeah. It's sounding.
Well, the drum sounds are really punchy, and you have some really tight sounding songs and some with lots of ambience and nice room sound, so the drums sound great on the recordings.
Yes, it's mics in a drum kit. There's no tricks to it. It's just SJC and a bunch of bitchin' mics.
Now, you've always had this setup. I think I've seen you play other rack toms in the past, but are you always traditionally a one rack tom, two floor tom sort of setup?
Yeah, for years, since like 95.
Okay. And do you get into the nitty gritty details of the build? Do you ask Mike and the guys about the edges and the plies? Do you get into those kind of details when you have your kits made?
I'm learning not to and just let SJC do it because they're experts. I had an idea to mess with some bearing edges on a kit, and it didn't come out as good as I'd like. And then I was okay, you guys just do your thing, and it came and it was perfect. So they know what they're doing.
Now, I've read your sizes of your drums seem to be similar a lot. 13-inch rack tom, 16 and 18. Mm-hmm. Big booming sounds. Have you stayed with this setup for a long time as far as the sizes of the drums?
I used to use a 14 up there, okay. And I found the 13 does the job, and it's a little less high.
Right. 18 by 22 inch kick drum, yeah?
Yeah. Big boomy.
And your aluminum snare drum, this is your own snare drum.
Yeah.
And you have a few of them here.
Bearing edge here.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of knock, a lot of low end, a lot of crack. It's the perfect snare drum, and it's really easy to get a good sound out of it. Isn't that right, Nathaniel? Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks so much for all this great information.
Well, thanks a lot.
All right, man.
See you later. No, I want that.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.